Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Voice of Reason. I'm your host Ryan Foltz, and in today's video I will be reading and discussing the first two paragraphs of the Declaration of Independence, and this is going to be a kind of setup video for the next set of videos that I do, in which I will be going over the Constitution of the United States and how they kind of relate to things that are going on now. Just kind of for some backstory, the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution, although they are two separate documents, are both necessary for the survival of our country and for the things in the country that will help guide us, for decisions that we make that will have an impact on things in the future. While everyone likes to cite the Constitution and whatnot, it is important to go back and read through the Declaration of Independence, because that is kind of the thing that sets up the Constitution. Because when the colonies declared their independence, they wrote the Declaration of Independence, and that kind of goes through their reasoning for not wanting to be a part of Great Britain. And then so it kind of goes through some different things that they felt were unfair that they had to deal with from the British from Great Britain, and then the Constitution was used by them as the style of government that would be adopted by the colonies, because you can't really run a country if you don't have any sort of governing body over the people. And so the Declaration of Independence is just as important as the Constitution, because it lays out some pretty awesome stuff that is not in the Constitution of the United States. So these documents are separate, but they are they work in tandem. So you can't have one without the other one. So the Declaration of Independence was their why, and the Constitution was the how. So without further ado, I will be reading the first two paragraphs of the Declaration of Independence, and then I'll be going through a few things that are written within the Declaration of Independence that we as citizens of the United States of America should know and understand, because I understand that that some people out there may not have been taught in school what the Declaration of Independence actually did for America. So if you know somebody that may not know exactly what's in the Declaration of Independence, don't be ashamed to share this video with them, because I've learned some interesting things about the Declaration of Independence myself through Hillsdale Institution. Go and follow their YouTube channel. They have a series of videos on the importance of and the use of the Constitution of the United States that I've been watching. So if you guys want a more in-depth analysis of the Declaration or the Constitution, you should definitely go there. All right, so we start off in Congress, July 4th, 1776. The unanimous declaration of the 13 United States of America. When in the course of human events it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another, and to assume among the powers of the earth the separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and of nature's God entitle them, a decent respect to the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the causes which impel them to the separation. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. To secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed, that whenever any form of government becomes destructive to these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it, and to institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. Prudence indeed will dictate that governments long established should not be changed for light or transient causes, and accordingly all experience has shown that mankind are more disposed to suffer while evils are sufferable than to right themselves by abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed. But when a long train of abuses and usurpations, pursuing invariably the same object, evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their future security. Such has been the patient sufferance of these colonies, and such is now the necessity which constrains them to alter their former systems of government. The history of the present King of Great Britain is a history of repeated injuries and usurpations, all having in direct object the establishment of an absolute tyranny over these states. To prove this, let facts be submitted to a candid world. All right, so that is the first two paragraphs of the Declaration of Independence, and those are the main 2 points of the main 2 paragraphs of the Declaration of Independence. The next list is a list of the things that they felt that the Great Britain had done to them, in which they felt the need for independence, and then it ends with a couple more paragraphs, which we may go over in a later video. But the first thing to notice is when in the course of human events, this statement, human events, is not just talking about the Revolutionary War and the specific events that they had went through. This is throughout humanity. And the next line of that is just talking about how they felt like they needed to separate themselves. It is also important that to note that they recognized the separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and nature of God entitled them. A decent respect to the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the causes which impel their separation. Laws of nature and nature of God is them recognizing that that there is a creator who is the reason for them for declaring their independence, and recognizing that that they have the right under God to be their own people. The next thing is that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just power from consent of the government. So, what this line means is that not only are, let me see, how do I want to say this? That the government the government has power based on the consent of the people, and then the people have inalienable rights, which are rights that are not granted by the government. These are rights that they recognize, that the founders recognize that all people have, not just Americans, is that all men are created equal. That doesn't mean Americans. That means all people are created equal. Unalienable rights just means that people have rights that were given by someone else, that were not given by the government, or given by They recognize their creator, which is they have rights given by God to pursue life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. The next line, that whenever any form of government becomes destructive to these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it and to institute a new government, laying the foundations on such principles and organizing its power in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. So this is probably one of the most important lines of the Declaration of Independence, because it is a line that will apply pretty much for the history of the country. Not just at that time, that whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, which is life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness, is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it. So that means that if the government starts coming in and infringing and making laws that will infringe on your rights, it is your right to, it gives you the right there to rebel against the government. And I would assume that also gives you the right to use force if you have to do what you think is right for the country if the government is doing things that are infringing on the rights that the Constitution recognizes that you have. But when right here again, along the same lines, when a long train of abuses and usurpations pursuing invariably the same object evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism, it is the right of the people. It is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards for the future security. So right there, also it says if this government is not doing what it is supposed to do, then it is your right to get rid of that government and to create a new government which will serve the purposes that are outlined in the Constitution. And then at the last bit of it is just them saying, we believe that the King of Great Britain is performing the acts that we have said we don't like. And so it then goes on to list what those acts were. And establishment of absolute tyranny over these states. So they recognized, hey, this guy is not treating us like we think we should be treated, and therefore we are breaking off from them, and we're becoming our own country in which we will recognize all these rights that we believe that people have, that have been granted by God and recognized by the government. So that is all for this video, and that is a setup for the Constitution of the United States, because like I said earlier, the Declaration of Independence was the why, and the Constitution of the United States is the how. So stay tuned for more of those videos. Again, Hillsdale Institution, Hillsdale College, give them a watch. Was really great information that I found on the channel. So don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And remember, guys, we've got a country to save.